Hello, welcome. My name is Crystal. If you've watched more than one of my videos, go ahead. I welcome you to subscribe. Now, in Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, we hear a lot about timing. I remember first hearing about timing from Conor McGregor, and he was saying how timing beats strength. So today we're going to go over a roll, and I'm going to give you some really important tips with a focus on timing. That way you can get more techniques live during your next time training. So if that interests you, then I'll see you when the round starts. Now, the first thing that happens when you're grappling is grips. Grips are one of the four most important things because that's what you start with. And right here, he starts with an arm drag in order to get into a single leg X guard, and then transitions to X guard to try to go for an X guard sweep, then underhooks my leg. And in order to defend this, I grab at the back of his head for some stability. And right now he has an outside senkaku, which basically means his legs are triangled. So I go to unlock the triangle and he gets the sweep. And now he's going for an ankle lock. Now, the key with timing is sometimes we hesitate when we're trying to go for things. If you just remember to just go for it, that like 1 second of hesitation is sometimes the hesitation that's needed for the other person to act. So right here, he did like such a great job of just going for the grips, going for a 2-on-1, going for an arm drag right off the bat. And here he has a 2-on-1, and he goes from the 2-on-1 to get me to the ground in a turtle position, then puts his hooks in to take my back. And from here, when your back is taken, your number one priority is to control their choking hands. So right now, since he has me in a gift wrap, a gift wrap is more of a controlling position than a choke position, so I'm not too worried about getting choked there. Now, the first back escape that I ever learned was this back escape where you basically turn inside their legs. So you're going from a back control position where your back is being controlled to a position where you're inside their guard, since you've basically rotated 180 degrees and now you're facing them. I did an entire video on the jiu-jitsu positions and why there is a positional hierarchy. So I will leave that video linked down below if you're interested as to why, let's say, in a jiu-jitsu tournament, specific positions are rated as they are. There's actually a physical reason as to why some positions are more dominant than others. Now let's keep this going, because this only gets better. Now I am inside his closed guard, and I'm moving to do a guard break as he's moving to do an open guard sweep. And right here is another important thing about timing. Anytime, do you see how he has his hands on my ankles, and he from there is thinking about going for a sweep. Now, before he tries to go for a sweep, he unlocks his legs, meaning he unlocks the guard. Now, from my perspective, when you're standing and somebody has their guard around you, in order to pass guard, the guard needs to be opened. So because he opened his guard for me, he actually did me a favor, and I was able to throw his legs by and pass. Had he kept his guard closed and made me work to unlock his guard, that would have been the perfect time for him then to quickly unlock his guard and transition to have his feet on my hips in an open guard position to then go for the sweeps, because he already had my ankles, and that would have forced me to try to sumo kick out. If you have any questions about these techniques, I have a live technique library that I created on this channel where I only show techniques live, not demonstrated. So you can see these like happen in real time, which is super useful. So basically, when we're talking about timing here, and let's say you're trying to go for that open guard sweep, remember, only open your guard when you're ready to move to the next technique and hit it fast. If there's time between there, that was the time that it took for me to then throw his legs by and pass guard. So that in this instance could have gone dramatically differently if there was different timing involved. Here's another really important tip for half guard pressure passing. There are a couple of points of pressure I went over. I actually did a whole video on pressure passing. I can link that below. One pressure that you can use is, have you ever been trying to pass half guard and they just lock their legs around yours and you can't get the leg out? One thing that you can do that's super effective is to use your foot to kick their legs off of you. You're basically kicking their knee back, and that has been super helpful for me to pass guard when somebody basically has like a stranglehold on the leg. My first coach used to say to me, his name is J Jack, he used to say to me, Crystal, a technique done correctly at the wrong time is the wrong technique. So I could do a technique perfectly, but if it's not being asked for or if it's at the wrong time, then it's the wrong technique. So here I'm going to tell you exactly when the right timing is to do this technique, because if it's done at the right time, then they do the majority of the work for you and you don't have to extend a lot of effort or expend a lot of effort. Here I am in side control. We call this side control 3. So the perfect time for you to do this transition into this next technique is when they frame hard into your neck. So you can see the frame is very hard. From here, you put your fist into their armpit, and we have a reverse crucifix here. Now this reverse crucifix, if you're interested in MMA, it's very useful if you're in an MMA fight, because this is a position where they can't defend against strikes because both of their arms are like this above their head. So you can start punching their face and the ref will most likely stop the fight and call it a KO. From here, if you're just doing straight jiu-jitsu with no strikes, I love using this reverse crucifix to then, you can also do a can opener from here, which is basically where a neck crank, but it's not, it's just kind of like being, I don't personally like doing that during training because it's like not a choke. I would much rather just play with chokes. So from the reverse crucifix, one transition that I love to do is to weave my leg through and transition from a reverse crucifix to a mounted triangle. And then from the mounted triangle, anytime that you're in a triangle position, no matter what orientation, you can attack the arm that's between your legs along with their head. You can attack that arm. So here I ended up doing a Kimura, but you can do, a Kimura, you can do an Americana, you can do a reverse armbar, you can do all the different attacks. So the triangle choke, the reason why I love it so much is, yes, it's a choke, obviously, but it's also a hold for you to, double the fun. All right, let's keep on going. So I ain't waiting to like start betraying them. It's twice as hard to get a job as paying them. So I ain't paying attention to what you're saying. Raindrops keep falling on my brain, cause I'm in the trap on flames. I'm so hot even if the weather change. I don't have no top, I'm insane. Remember dark skin Jermaine, waiting in the rain. It's sorta kinda the same, except I'm no lame and you're gonna know my name. Along with timing, here is a position tip in order for you to pass guard more easily. I have his leg pinned to the ground, but also I have his hip cupped and I have my elbow inside his thigh, inside his hip, on getting that inside position. So that is very helpful in controlling and passing guard. And it also, when you keeping my right arm kind of tight, also shuts down some of the attacks that he could do from here. So from here I staple the leg down and I do a back step to pass and then throw his legs. That way I can get past, as John Danaher calls them, the dangerous legs. From here I get the underhook, and this is a keisakatame position. And I move to trap the arm because from here you can do an armbar like I'm doing. You can also do an Americana, and you can do a crucifix. So the key to getting this mounted triangle, I have a whole video on mounted triangle, is to trap that arm using your thigh and tricep.
Money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air.
Rich boy, silly, quick, hook, niggas wanna jet shit tight, no snake, just bought a Cadillac.
And even if they bridge and roll you, you still have the triangle. So if you just lock it up and keep the lock up, you can then go to a triangle from guard position and attack the arm. So here was a Kimura finish from triangle.
Outside of the club, anything I'm a part. So I go to my loaded tank, nah, that's open the trunk. I told you, I ain't never said this. I ain't never said this. I ain't never said this. I ain't never said this.
Let me tell you, if you're not wrong, then why? Everything is alright. So we're gonna walk, alright, through the roads of creation. We the generation, tell me why. Try to break tribulation. Exodus, alright. Movement of your people, oh yeah, oh yeah, alright.
Now here's another important tip that'll definitely help you pass guard more. Is here I'm getting his knees together, because if their knees are together, most people cannot sweep you from this position. My coach has some tricks up his sleeve where he can, but the majority of the people, you have shut down the majority of their sweeps. So pinch their knees together. So here you can see I'm hugging his knees together. And then in order to fully prevent getting swept, what you can do is use your shin to then staple their ankles to the mat. And when your shin is above their ankles, they are unable to get any type of tricky hooks in, meaning they're unable to get their feet weaved into your legs, because then that would be a leverage point for them to then do a sweep. So here he's looking for that Kimura because he's thinking I'm going to be going around the front towards his head. But then what you can do is, instead of going down, you know, where they can see you, you can staple their legs to the ground using your shins and then spin around to the back.
my trunk, bought it just for the freaks. Catch me in the hood, posted at the stove. Pistol in my lap on the phone, counting dough. If your girl true, let her do a thing. Just like a mama, nice head, nice brain. Everybody love me, I'm so fly. Niggas throw the deuces every time I ride by. I know you wonder why, I'm so cool. Don't ask me, just do what you do.
You don't know what it means to win.
It's going down, meet me in the club. It's going down, anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
Come down and save me again.
It's going down, meet me in the club. It's going down, anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Verse number 2, do the damn thing. Keeps on my neck, pocket full of bitten frames. When I'm in the mall, hoes just pause. I pop a few tags, give me that on the wall. Time to flip the bird.
This next technique that you're about to see, I also did a whole video on it. I'll also link that below. I called it Attacks from North-South using this Kimura grip. So basically, we have a technique called the like walk around series. I'm just telling people to like, hey, there's a camera there. Can you like not stand in front of it? So you can use the Kimura grip to then armbar. You can also use that Kimura grip to take the back. Like once you have that Kimura grip, it's like an adventure book. You can just choose your own adventure as to where to go from there. So if you're really interested in this Kimura grip and how you can use it, definitely check out my instructional. Just
Got you in my space. I won't let go of you. Got you shackled in my embrace. I'm latching onto you. And I'm latching on you. No, I won't let go. I won't let go. I won't let go. I won't let go.
All right, here I'm doing a shin to shin entry into X guard, and he basically does a good job of backstepping. When I'm inside of guard, right now he's trying to push my arm out because then it would be a triangle. And my left arm, it's like if I can just push my shoulder through, it's like an inverse birth. If I can just push my shoulder through his legs, then that saves me from getting triangled. So another tip is both arms in or both arms out, and he's doing a very good job of trying to work the triangle by shoving my one arm between his legs to get the triangle. That's the round. So thank you so much for watching. If you learned a few things, I welcome you to subscribe because I do videos every week. And if you haven't checked out my YouTube shorts, I take all the techniques that I do during rolls and I put them in a live jiu-jitsu technique library. That way you can see moves live, because sometimes things look different when you do them live. There's timing differences, like cadence differences that, you know, will most likely help you out. All right, so until next time, you're doing great. Keep on training, and yeah, bye. Now, in terms of timing tips for back escapes and any type of escape, the highest percentage escape you have, the percentage of escaping exponentially decreases with time. So your most probable point of escaping is right when they're about to secure the position. So during the transition, when I was a white belt, I remember if I was on the bottom of side control, I would go right to the side control safety position and then try to work escapes from there. But now I'm like getting that knee in and regaining guard before they settle in a top control or in a controlling position has dramatically increased my ability to escape. So try that. If somebody is about to get top position, do your escape right off the bat, because it takes so much more work once they settle into that top controlling position than if you just start escaping off the jump. So try that. It'll be very helpful for you.